Namaskar. I'm Dr. Nalini Avinash Wagmare, working as an associate professor at the Maharashtra Vidyapit, Pune. Today's our topic is related to Saptanga theory of Kautilya. Um, in this lecture, we have to study Kautilya's Arthashastra as well as Saptanga theory of Kautilya and what is the importance of this Saptanga theory is helpful to the administrators as well as judiciary as well as for kingship purpose. At that time, Kautilya written these things in his Arthashastra book. So let's see briefly about the Saptanga theory of Kautilya. The Mauryan era of ancient India gave the world a significant treatise, the Arthashastra of Kautilya. It offers deep insights into political statecraft. Kautilya is known as the Indian Machiavelli because of his ruthless and shrewd tactics and policies reflecting an approach to statecraft, including warfare. Nature of state mentioned in his Arthashastra. Nature of state is imagined to be one of the total anarchy in which might was right. When people were oppressed by Matsayana, the law of the fish, according to which the bigger fish swallows the smaller ones, they selected Manu, son of Vivasavath, the king. It was settled that the king should receive 1/6 of the grain and 1/10 of merchandise and gold as his due. It was the revenue which made it possible for the king to ensure the security and prosperity of his subjects. People agreed to pay taxes, and he ruled by one person in order that they might be able to enjoy well being and security. In Kautilya's Arthashastra, there is no explicit theory of social contract as laid down by the contractualists. Neither does Kautilya use the contract to make the king all powerful. Kautilya's Saptanga. Then let's see what is the meaning of Saptanga. The word Saptanga indicates 7 limbs, constitutes, or elements. Together, they constitute the state as an organism like a chariot composed of 7 parts, fitted and subservient to one another. To an extent, the Saptanga theory of state finds elaboration in the ancient Greek political philosophy. For instance, while comparing the state with the human body, Plato had argued that just as a cut in the finger causes pain in the whole body, similarly, injury of one organ creates problem for the organs of um, body politics. 7 angas. Prakritis or elements were enumerated and elucidated by Kautilya for describing the nature of the state in its totality. As laid down in the first chapter of Kautilya's sixth book, entitled Mandala Unidesar, the elements of Kautilya's enumerated 7 prakritis or essential organs of the state. They are as in any state, Kautilya mentioned that these 7 points are very important for good administrator, welfare of the people, and the treaties with other neighbors. So first one is Swami the ruler, Amatya the minister, Janapada the population, Durga the fortified capital, Kosha the treasury, Danda the army, Mitra ally or friend. Then first we see the what was the functions of the Swami and what is duties and all other things. Swami, the ruler, it is the first and the foremost important element in the state. Swami means the monarch or king. He should be a native of the soil and born in a noble family. He should be brave and well learned. Means he must born in a royal family and he should be well learned. He makes all the important appointments and supervise the government in a detailed manner. He has to virtuous and should treat his subject like his own children. So no discriminate among the his subjects. All are his own children's. Kautilya has given extensive powers to the monarch, but those powers are meant for the welfare of them subjects. In the welfare and happiness of his subject lies his own happiness. Swami, the sovereign king, Subscribing to monarchy as the ideal form of state, Kautilya has accorded to the king the highest place in the body politics. Swami is the chief executive head of the state and is thus the consummation of all elements. The word Swami is derived from the word Swayam, which refers self-determining. The Swami therefore becomes a living and animated embodiment which is subject to be ruled by none, does not follow any external rulings, and is liable only to self-imposed restrictions. He is thus the symbol of legal and political authority and power. Then what ideals of the Swami? The Kautilya gives a comprehensive list of four broad categories of qualities which constitute the ideals of a Swami. Qualities of a inviting nature, qualities of intellect and institution, qualities of enthusiasm, qualities of self-restraint and spirit one. These categories of qualities supplements the usual notion of kinship being characterized by coercion and subordination of people. The king was thus not to be a despot exercising power through sheer military force, but was to rule his subject through affection, through lovingly. Accordingly, the duties and functions are that he is called upon to perform of two types of duties. Protective functions. The king being the natural guardian and savior of his people. Kautilya expects him to perform the following protective functions. That he should put down violence and maintain law and order. He should avoid dangers and command the army to redress people's grievances, to punish the wrongdoers, and to administer justice impartially and in accordance with the sacred law, evidence, history, and enacted law. Then promotive functions, on the other hand, his promotive functions include the following: that he should promote the moral and material happiness and welfare of the people, as in their happiness like his own happiness, in their welfare his welfare, to enable them to pursue freely their independent efforts in life, to maintain unity and solidarity, to reward virtue, to promote agriculture, industry, and arts, to regulate the means of livelihood, especially of the laborers and artisans, and to encourage education and help students. In the excess of this function, Kautilya king was all powerful. The limits of his authority were imposed by the social and religious custom of the state at the time. Then the second is Amatya, means the minister. Amatya, it refers to the council of ministers as well as the supporting officials and subordinates staff. They are meant for assisting the monarch in day-to-day affairs of the state. Amatya gives suggestion to the king, collect taxes, develop new villages and cities, ensure defense of the state and all other tasks assigned by the king. Amatya, in its narrow sense, the term Amatya minister is used for minister of the high grade. Kautilya described the elaborate system of recruitment of the Amatyas and other officials who were to be morally and ethically pure, honest in financial matters, and good character. The Amatyas were expected to be natural born citizens, persons of noble origin, free from all vices, men of infallible memory, friendly nature, wisdom, patience, and endurance. King was expected to appoint only wise men to these offices as they were to be his trusted advisers. These ministers were not only to advise the king whenever their advice was sought, they were also to maintain the secrecy of their deliberations. So very good qualities morally, virtually, as well as ethically person appointed in this post. Then third one is Janapada, the people and the territory. The Janapada, this unique element of Saptanga is the symbol of state, which stands for a territorial society. Here, Jana denotes the people, and Pada is a symbol of territory where these inhabitants permanently reside. Dr. D.R. Bhandarkar and R.S. Sharma are of the view that Kautilya's Janapada includes not only territory but also population. in that state where the staying there, that population is also considered as Janapadas. Kautilya prescribed the following requisites of a prosperous Janapada in terms of territory: accommodate and support people, defend the state against enemies, find occupation of people, have manageable neighbors, provide pastures, have arable land, mines, forests, and provide good internal communication, that is rivers, roads, and outlet to sea. It refers to territory and the people of the state. The territory of the state should be fertile and should have abundance forests, rivers, mountains, minerals, and wildlife, etc. It should have a good climate. People should be loyal to their king, hardworking, disciplined, religious, ready to fight for their motherland, should pay taxes regularly and happily. So these are the few requisites expressed in the Arthashasana. Then the Durga, the fortified capital, another element of this um, Saptanga theory. It refers to force. The state should have sufficient number of forts across its territory at a strategic location for ensuring defense against foreign invasions. Forts should be built near hills, mountains, deserts, dense forests, and big water bodies. The garrison soldiers store food grains for emergency and also serve as a handout for the king when his life in danger. For that purpose, the food should be well maintained. Kautilya regarded fortification as essential for the defense and the protection of the state. He wanted the state to fortify the territories from all sides. He has described four types of fortification, which include Autak, Parvat, Dhanava, and Vana. Of these categories, the first two are used for the protection of the territory, and the remaining two are used for the protection of the farmers. These fortifications thus could not only protect the people and the capital, but would also be suitable for fighting purpose, that is both defensive and offensive purposes. Then Kosha. This means treasury of the state. Finance is a lifeblood of any state, without which it is almost impossible to run the state or family also. Money is needed for paying salaries, building new infrastructure, etc. The treasury should be full of money and valuable metals and gems. It can be increased through taxation and plundering enemy states in war, which is existing at the time. The flourishing economy is essential for the existence of the state in all times and circumstances. That is probably why the philosophers of ancient India looked at treasury as an essential element of the state. So Kautilya wanted a prosperous treasury. He specially directed the king to earn the wealth of a nation only by legitimate and righteous means, and in no way unfair and immemorable means. For the collection of revenues, Kautilya suggests the following legitimate sources: various forms of land tax, duty levied on the sale of commodities in the market, tax on the imports and exports, as well as miscellaneous other taxes. For the collection of revenue, Kautilya suggests the following legitimate sources: various forms of land tax, duty levied on sale of a commodity and market, tax on import and other things. Then another feature is the danda. Another body of the state is danda, that is the army. It refers to military. The state should have a regular, large, disciplined, and well-trained military. It is crucial for the security of the state. The soldiers should be recruited from those families which are traditionally associated with military. Proper training and equipment should be made available. Proper, well-fed and well-trained soldiers can win any battle. The king should take care of the soldiers, and the soldiers will be ready to sacrifice even their life for the kingdom or for king purpose. Kautilya accepted a strong and hereditary Kshatriya army as the most important requisite of the state. He insists on the hereditary army as it would not only be skilled, well contained, and obedient to the king's will, but also be free from the duplicity. Such an army would serve both the defensive and offensive purpose of the king. Hence, it was obvious for Kautilya to pay great attention to the maintenance and organization of the army. For instance, in Arthashastra, we find him mentioning as many as half a dozen heads of departments, namely in charge of the armory, naval forces, cavalry, elephants, chariots, and infantry. Then Mitra means friends, having realized that political isolation means death. So Kautilya proceeds to consider the Mitra or the ally as a vital factor. Kautilya recognized two kinds of allies, namely Sahaja and Kirtima. The Sahaja or natural ally is the one whose friendship is derived from the times of Kautilya's father and grandfather and who is situated close to the territory of the immediately neighboring enemy. On the other hand, the Kritimana, the equated ally, is the one whose friendship is specially resorted to for the protection of the wealth and life. Kautilya, however, preferred an ally who is traditional, permanent, disciplined, and enthusiastic, from whom the possibility of opposition or rebellion is minimal. So, these two types of mitras mentioned in his book. It refers to friends of the king. The monarchy should maintain friendly relation with the traditional friends of his forefathers. He should also make a new friendships. He should send gifts and other pleasantries for his friends. They should be helped in times of emergency. They should be loyal. Friends added to the power of the state. They are also important from foreign trade viewpoint. So that's why the Mitra friendship with neighboring countries is very important for running a good state. Then what was the role of the king? The role of the king, Kautilya gives exchange power to the kings and attaches an element of divinity. His foremost duty is protection of the subject and their property. King's sources, sources of power is three sources: Prabhu Shakti, the powerful of the army and treasury; Manta Shakti, advice of wise men, especially the council of ministers; Utsaha Shakti, charisma. Duties of the kings. Kautilya does not believe in the theory of divine origin of the monarch. According to him, state is human institution and it should be managed by a human being. So the king should be protector of the dharma of the whole society. Arthashastra pointed out duties of King Sahari should follow his Rajya Dharma, should exhibit attributes Atma Vrata, self-control. So the king should easy the six enemies away from this Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mana, Mada, Masara, and Harsha. To control these all things. Then the system of law, although Kautilya's state theory states the monarchical democracy, but the sole authority was under the hands of the king. The four sources, Dharma, Vyavahara, Charitra, and Rajyasana. Arthashastra represents a system of civil, criminal, and mercantile law. For instance, the following were codified: a process for the interrogation, torture, trial, and rights of the accused; constitution of permissible evidence; a procedure for autopsy in case of death in suspense circumstances; deformation procedure for claiming damages, invalid contract. So this type of law existed at the time. Then machinery of the government. The Arthashastra categorizes officers, phalanx of officers called superintendents, lower in importance than the ministerial officers, such as much below them, belong to sixth order according to remuneration. They are not heads of department. The superintendents might be as chiefs of section dealing with various economic and other activities of the government. Most of these sections are the modern business departments. A dual control is exercised over the superintendents. As far as control of services of personnel and collection of revenue are concerned, they are under the Collector General. So in conclusion, we can say that The Arthashastra is a textbook of practical politics and statecraft. One of the outstanding contributions of Kautilya Arthashastra to statecraft and governance in the monarchical state. Hence, Kautilya's theory of state envisages a rational approach to governance and statecraft, which conceptualize the state and the office of the kingship to be human artifacts. So, Kautilya's concept state is, however, vividly reflected in his description of elements of the state, that is, seven angas, Saptanga theory. He did not specially define the term state, as he was essentially a man of action and not a terrorist. His concern for an emphasis on the internal and external security of the state was to say humanity form a sort of Hobbesian state of nation. The Saptanga theory is a vivid manifestation of Kautilya's deeper understanding of not only the political nature of the man, but also the functioning of his political institutions, especially the state. So in this way, Kautilya's the seven elements give us information about the how the state should be run, what were the duties of the this king, ministers, judiciary officers, army, population, danda, and all other things. For more detail, you can refer these books. I'll take our book State Government in Ancient India, D.N. Jha book Ancient India, Agrawal book Basic Ideas of Education. So these are the few books you refer for more details. And these two papers I refer for present this PPT, Dr. Jyoti Prabha and another author books. So you can click and you can collect it from the net also. Thank you. Thank you very much.